Alright guys, buckle up. Today we're diving into the world of banking, interest rates, and unexpected consequences. In this video, we'll explore how the Federal Reserve's well-intentioned intervention to stabilize the banking system during the rise in interest rates unintentionally transformed into a free money machine for opportunistic banks. We'll uncover the story behind the Bank Term Funding Program, or BTFP, its unexpected twist, and what lessons we can learn from this financial saga. So, fasten your seatbelts and let's get started. Hi there, my name is Hector. If you are new to this channel, here I talk about everything related to personal finance, from the stock market, real estate, cryptocurrencies, and any other topic that affects the financial landscape. So, if you're into that kind of stuff, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell notification to get alerts every time I post new content just like this. Alright, without further ado, let's dive into it. Our story begins with the Bank Term Funding Program, or BTFP, a program introduced by the Federal Reserve to address a looming crisis caused by the rise in interest rates. Less than a year ago, Silicon Valley Bank, or SVB, and First Republic experienced spectacular collapses, marking the largest bank failures since 2008 financial crisis. The culprit? Soaring interest rates that led to a chain reaction of events. The BTFP's ingenious idea was to offer banks loans secured against the face value of the Treasury bonds. Treasury bonds are certificates of payment issued by the government when they borrow money from others. In other words, these are long-term obligations with maturities of 10 years or more, in which the government borrows money from others, including banks or people, making a commitment to pay back at a specific time called loan maturity with a specific or fixed interest rate. So, by offering banks loans secure against the face value of their treasuries and not the current market value, the BTFP prevented wobbly banks from resorting to a fire sale of treasuries to raise cash in case their depositors started fleeing. SVB's woes were exacerbated when higher rates caused the prices of long-term bonds to plummet far below their face value. Here's where the BTFP proved its worth. It lent based on the face value of the securities and not their market value. This generous approach actually worked out well and successfully stabilized the system and averted a severe crisis. Now, fast forward to today, and the BTFP has become a source of trouble itself. The problem is that the interest rate banks must pay to borrow through the BTFP is tied to the one-year interest rate set by the financial markets. This rate depends on predictions of the average Federal Reserve policy rate over the next year. Investors are anticipating that the central bank will slash rates significantly, resulting in a low borrowing cost of only 4.8%. However, the Fed continues to pay banks 5.4% on their cash balances. In simple terms, banks can now borrow money via the BTFP to make a risk-free profit of 0.6% on the central bank's expense. If rate cuts indeed happen as expected, banks can repay the loans early without incurring negative interest margins. Essentially, the Fed has given banks a value option for free. While borrowers' identities will eventually be disclosed, their only constraint on them is the risk of their reputation, although some might even consider the shameless opportunity a virtue. Naturally, the use of the BTFP has skyrocketed. Since November, outstanding balances have surged from $109 billion to $147 billion. While it is uncertain if all this increased borrowing is pure arbitrage, the current rise of bond values over the same period indicates that the motive behind this borrowing is more opportunistic than necessity. What's particularly concerning about this situation is that it all translates into free money for banks, ultimately at the expense of taxpayers, since the Fed is a public-funded entity. Now, the Federal Reserve faces a tricky situation here. It initially pledged to keep the BTFP open until March of 2024, but it has since hinted at discontinuing new loans. Shutting the program early could damage the Fed's credibility at fulfilling its promises. However, the current scenario demands immediate action. The Fed should consider amending the interest rate on new loans, either by aligning it with the Fed's policy rate or appropriately pricing the new payments or the prepayment options to eliminate the arbitrage opportunity. As we unravel this financial saga, it is crucial to reflect on what lessons we can learn. The Federal Reserve should exercise greater caution when designing interventions like this. By lending at generous rates to banks that might be insolvent on a mark-to-market basis, the Federal Reserve or the Fed might have unintentionally violated this principle. And this is how a well-intentioned solution turned into a free money machine for banks. The Federal Reserve now faces a challenge of rectifying its unintended consequences and maintaining its credibility. So as we look into the future, the Fed must carefully design its interventions during financial crises. This story reminds us that even the best laid plans can lead to unexpected twists and turns in the world of finance. This is it for today, guys. I hope you liked this video. If you enjoyed it or if you learned something from it, please consider subscribing. And also, do me a favor. Click that like button and the bell notification to get alerts every time I post new content just like this one. I'll see you next time. Bye.